Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so Anthony Davis's head injury was much more serious than I realized it was when I made my video last night. So, first of all, we want to send him a good energy and say that his health is more important than what we're doing. Genuinely, we want his health to be right. We don't want no funny business with head injuries of any kind. The man has children. That end story. So, if he has to miss Game 6, Game 7 with concussion protocol, we'll be sad about that, but we won't heap any pressure on him uh, when it becomes a situation like that. Concussion protocol is not something that you can play around with. It's not something they're going to be wavering on and all of that. You just have to swallow the situation. It's an injury. So, um, with that being said, we do have the size to make up for his absence in certain ways, but of course you don't make up for his play. So we're in trouble, but it's up to coach to run those guys. He's gonna have to run those guys, and if he does what he did last night with the small ball, 2 power forwards, 3 ball handlers, if that's gonna be his way to go in this series, we're probably gonna lose the game he does this in. The data's there. It's up to y'all. At the end of the day, it's up to y'all. Lakers, if you want to run the stuff that doesn't work, you'll get the result that comes with it, and you'll go home. And the Golden State Warriors will go on to defend their championship further. Um, or you can act like we got the players that we have, use them, and proceed to give ourselves a better opportunity, I believe. Um, so that's really what I have to say. We'll reawait good news. They said that he avoided concussion. That was the word. But to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't really necessarily work like that. And given the fact that we only have one day between the next game, the likelihood that he's going to be 100% in the next game, I don't think it is very high. So Lakers just got to make do, man. This is what it's about. Health is what is determining the strength of our team. We know we're a deep team, but we also know that Anthony Davis is why we're the best defensive team out there. But if we don't have him out there, I don't know how we're going to be the best defensive team. But we have some strengths, obviously, and we have some great players on our team that without Anthony, and we've played a good portion of this season without Anthony, including against these Golden State Warriors, and won the game, if I'm not mistaken. So, got to make do. This is the time of year where it's next man up, and nobody wants to hear any excuses. And when you have a two-game cushion lead in the series, you just got to do what you have to do to close the game out. Game 6 was my initial prediction, but I was very intent on my vision having Anthony Davis a part of it. So, without him, I definitely don't feel very good about us, especially given how confused we looked against the Golden State Warriors in good portions of a time in this series, um, just running circles around us, man. So I don't know why that would stop, to be honest with you. I don't know why that would stop, because in Game 3, I felt like the Golden State Warriors were having a good time scoring in our paint and just simply stopped doing so. And as long as they figured out how to do that, there's no reason for them to be shooting threes like they were in the beginning of the series. So to me, it feels like they figured us out. And as long as we stay the way that we are, attacking the way that we've been, they're going to be able to continue doing what they're doing. And most importantly, they're going to run the same plays that they've been running that we haven't figured out. And it's going to either be what it is, or we're going to do some things differently. So I didn't think the effort was really there in the game last night. Not necessarily. I was listening to Shannon Sharp. He was kind of saying the same thing. He felt like the closeouts were kind of weak and stuff like that. And I know why. We talked about it before the game. They just want to conserve energy. Conserving energy is important in the series because of the schedule and all of that. But the other side of it is, here we are with an injury. You know what I mean? Here we are. But, the officials did us no favors. They could have did a lot to help us. You look at the defensive totals that the Golden State Warriors had, and then you look at the fouls that should have came your way, and it's like some of those defensive steals, things like that, they're probably fouls that should have been called and stuff like that. So you look at the free throw balance, and you see that they got to the line same amount as us, basically. That never happens. It's just, the Lakers left themselves open for Draymond Green to lay the ball up when you leave yourself no rim protection, and he's going off to look to be a scorer. It's just a lot of stuff that came together to make it so that we were going to lose. And so I thought the Lakers ultimately were compliant with that. having studied this game long enough, we know when the Lakers want to be successful, and we know when the Lakers are intending to schedule a loss. And I'm telling you, Game 5 was pretty much a scheduled loss. Just like for Series 1, it's all in the details. We know we left ourselves open to be rebounded over. We know we left ourselves open to be bad in transition. We know we left ourselves, no rim protection at all. So why else would we have any success when we've seen ourselves do that all season long, and we've seen it fail all season long? So when we want to fail, we go to that. That's it. We deeper than that. And real Laker fans actually know that. We know this. It's not a question about it. If the Lakers want to win, they're not going to do that. When the Lakers are trying to compete, when it really matters, they're not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this is why we know that our team picks and chooses when it wants to strategize itself to being dominant, or it strategizes itself to conserve energy, or strategize itself to just flat out not succeed. And we initiate all three when we choose. And so full total control. I really believe it's total control. That's why I'm like, man, people shouldn't bet on this crap, because you can totally see how it goes down. And it's like, even if the referees are doing well on your team, if they want to, if the league wants this to go a certain way, they will get what they want. It shows. And that's what I've been screaming all year long. They just got to understand that they're not hidden. It's not as hidden as they need it to be in order for fans to accept it. When you watch referees call a back down call, 5-second back down call that hasn't been called since Shaq was in the league. I mean, in the first quarter, LeBron James, I don't even think that was 5 seconds. It's supposed to be, if you put your back to the basket and you dribble, back first, you only get a certain amount of time to do so before it's a turnover. They did that because of Charles Barkley back in the day. It was Chuck who ultimately made that rule a thing, because he used to use his back down. He would use half the dang shot clock backing small guys down all the way from the 28-foot mark all the way into the paint and just shoot over them. And it got to a point where it made the game so damn stagnant that the NBA did away with that. And you couple that with Shaq kind of doing the same thing in the same era. They just figured that would be the way to remove that entirely from the game. And to be honest with you, they don't call it very much at all. If they do call it, it's rare. And for them to call it in Game 4 of the second round on LeBron James, it just lets you know that they were intending on, basically giving the Lakers the boot this evening by way of the officiating, or yesterday evening, of course. And I felt like that was somewhat of a signaling to both teams, like, look, this is how it's going to go. So be ready. We're calling nonsense tonight. We want to see the Golden State Warriors succeed, and so prepare accordingly. And we didn't. That was our cue to kind of pull our starters at a certain point in the fourth quarter when we were down 14. The officials ain't letting you in. That's when intellect needs to step in and say, yo, look at how they're officiating the game. Do we really have a chance of coming back into this thing? Or is it that every time we use our inertia to get to the rim, which is the only way we're going to get our thing done, they're allowing the team to punish us with physical harm? And so it's like, if you know that's what they're doing, and you're rendered to only shooting threes, why isn't your best shooter shooting threes? D'Angelo Russell needs to be lighting it up. He only attempted, 2 threes? Something like that. It's like, you just go keep driving at the rim, and you just go keep watching these guys not call it. And that's why I'm like, man, at some point in time, we just got to be smart. At some point in time, intellect needs to take over. It's like, bro, we got fragile players and only 1 day of rest between games. Stop running these dudes at punishment, man. Stop having Bron and God knows who else we had driving at the rim. Obviously, Anthony Davis in there taking punishment. We're not calling anything. We're down by big amounts. Your team's looking confused with the way that they're running plays down there. We're not stopping them. You're not rebounding because you put the wrong players on the floor too soon in the game to give us any chance. So if it doesn't make sense to try to come back based on the shot making of the players we're going up against and the deficit we have, why not just sit some of these players and try to rest them and get some health going for ourselves? We didn't pull our starters soon enough. We didn't take that 5-second back down and all them other clobbering hits as a signal to understand that the refs were not going to waver on what it is they were intending in extending this series. And we let the Golden State Warriors effectively finally accomplish potentially removing Anthony Davis from this series, which is the only real way they had any chance of winning it. And I told y'all, they've been trying to hurt this man for 3 games straight. I pointed out each and every situation. They know they can't guard him. They know he can guard them. And they know if we remove him from the team, chances are we can't figure ourselves out well enough to even play right against them. And so it's like all they had to do was find some kind of way to get him out the game. And everybody says Kevon Looney didn't do this on purpose. Very, very fortuitous for them that Kevon Looney was able to accidentally concuss Anthony Davis. Y'all want me to buy that? Oops, my hands are so high to hit this man in the head. I can't see, but I know if my hands are this high and he's that height, chances are he's going to get hit in the head. You know what I'm saying? Chances are if my elbows are extended this way and he's leaning under me, if he lifts up, he's going to get hit, especially if I extend. Especially if I'm extending with velocity on my arm to the point where I can see my arm flex as it's hitting him in the head. But no, I ain't doing it on purpose. Stop playing with me. Just because he wasn't looking at the man, you trying to tell me this supreme athlete doesn't know where his arm is? Stop playing with me. He's one of the best rebounders in the game. He knows where his arm is. People need to stop buying the bull crap, bro. He doesn't have a reputation for doing this. That's why he the one doing it. He can't let Draymond do it to be suspended. This guy do it? Nobody's even looking in his direction. Obviously, he has the greatest reputation. That's why Steve Kerr sent him out there to do it. Dummies. But yeah, y'all go ahead, keep believing the bullcrap as they continue to benefit from the one thing they needed to happen. Telling y'all, man, y'all can run this stuff on most fans. Y'all can't run that on me. Kevon Looney, of course he did that on purpose. Are you kidding me? I've been trying to get that man out of this damn game for 3 games straight, and I've been pointing it out. They finally did it, and the Lakers didn't protect their players. Just like I told you on the last one, protect our guys. This is what I was talking about. We soft. Anthony Davis getting hit in the head, and they ain't feel nothing? Psst. That's what I'm talking about. And look, I get it. Dennis Schroeder was pulling people's knees in game 1. I get it. But look at where we at. Look at where we at. They're dirty. They've been dirty. They dirty every year. Somebody gets fortuitously hurt for them to keep moving on. And people point it out. This is a team that's won championships. You don't become dominant without doing certain things outside the lines. And this, obviously, is something that they're with. So I'm just looking at them. I'm saying, okay, man. Dynasty. All right, I see how it goes. I watch the Patriots do a lot of weird stuff, too. Dynasty. I'm sure if we did, we find what we need to find. But I'm not going to, because at the end of the day, this is the Golden State Warriors. They shoot the 3. Steph never misses. It's actually pretty to watch. But at the end of the day, when I watch Draymond Green do crap like this, and I watch Kevon Looney do crap like this, I get frustrated. Because I know what they need to do to succeed. And they were able to do it and got away with it because everybody has a great reputation in that regard who did it. And for me, I ain't that stupid at all. I know what happened there. And it needed to happen. And it would have happened in many, many times in the 80s and 90s. It would have went exactly like that. Oops, his head and my elbow, he's out. So sorry. Now let's proceed to go forward. So you can run that on the new generation, but some of us old guys have been here. We've seen this before. We know what you're doing. We know what you're doing because we know it's the only thing you could have done to win. Golden State. It's the only way you would have did it. So if Anthony doesn't play or he's not able to be himself and you do win this series, congratulations. Congratulations. You know what I'm saying? Some of us know what it took for you to win. But it is what it is, man. I trust that the LeBron James never has blown a 3-1 lead. Moniker will continue. Hopefully that we can have some success in regards to our luck here, because that's what we're going to need. If Anthony Davis misses this game, we're going to need some luck. And y'all let Jordan Poole see a few shots fall, start leaving a player like that open. It's stupid. It's absolute stupidity. I'm not going to lie to you. When you see a player like that playing poorly, but you know his mechanics are that legit, leaving him open when he's not shooting well, all that actually does is give him an opportunity to get some rhythm shots so he can start shooting well again. And that translates to when he gets on the court in practice today and shoot around, he's going to shoot a little better. And when he gets back on the court against us, he's more likely to shoot a lot better. Because we allowed him to by giving him open shots. Leaving him open like his mechanics are bad because he's been struggling. No, his mechanics are great. Not good, great. He's struggling. His body ain't. He needs you to leave him open so that he can get out of that slump. And that's what we did. So if we go to a game 7 and he has 37 points, I told you so. And this is why. It's stuff like that. It's like those philosophies to leave people open. When you have those habits all year long, we're going to leave that shooter open, we're going to leave that shooter open. We don't respect him. Dylan Brooks, we don't respect him. When you have that mentality, it's going to bite you in the back when you need it not to, because that's disrespecting others, professionals who can really play the game. You're testing their professionalism and their livelihoods. And you're saying you can't do the most basic thing, and I'm going to test you in such a way that's going to disrespect your manhood. So go ahead, great shooter, Jordan Poole. You're struggling, and we don't believe you can hit shots because we have the habit of being that stupid against other people who actually didn't hit shots against us. So go ahead. This time, when it matters most, we're going to do this dumb crap, and we're going to watch you torture us. Because we're not smart enough not to. Just like we weren't smart enough to not play Lonnie Walker 28 minutes after he had 15 points in the fourth quarter. When we haven't played him in about 4 months. What do you think he's going to do with 28 minutes that you've never given him? In lineups that don't play defense. When you know that's the problem that we had with him in the first place. You put him in lineups that had guards in it, and you knew that man couldn't do nothing with those lineups. It's not harmless, Darvin. It's not harmless. When you strategize this way, I get it. We wanted to strategize a loss. But certain things beget more problems, more discernment, more disadvantages that come about when you start believing your own lies. You start believing the lie that Lonnie Walker sucked and you benched him entirely. Shouldn't have happened. You put him out there, he did something great in game 4. Now you believing that you should give him 28 minutes in game 5. That's also a lie you shouldn't believe. It's just like, what? Why are we doing these things? Why are we doing these things, man? Why are we like this? Why are we like this? And so that's what I say. That's what I mean by basic thinking. It's like, do people not understand that people are watching them make decisions? As they're doing them, they're just taking notes and then proceeding to do things different. Doing things against them, rather, that would directly stop what it is that they're doing as they watch them do it. It's like, Darvin, they see you doing this, bro. Stop doing basic stuff so that your other teams doesn't look so smart against you, brother. Literally. If your team needs to rebound, put the damn rebounders on the floor. If your team needs to defend, put the defenders on the floor. If your team needs a bucket, identify how best to get that. How do you do that with this team? Defense to offense. Defense, once again. Your half-court offense is not very good portion of the time. Also, what do we talk about in game 2 in regards to Andrew Wiggins? His set three-point shot is falling. We've talked about this. We talk about it every so often in regards to this conversation with the Golden State Warriors. Andrew Wiggins is a much better shooter than people think. And if you leave him a set shot, if his feet are set, he's going to hit the shot. We have left him open maybe a three-point shooter all series. It's been here or there, but in this last game, he was hitting it in key moments, and we weren't defending him properly. These are things that should not be possible. Do you think that he can't play well on the road? Andrew Wiggins doesn't have that problem. Some of his teammates may have had that problem throughout the regular season, but he can play well on the road. Those shots that you're giving him, he can hit those at Staples. So I'm just like, man, we set them up to have rhythm in game 6. And we ain't going to have the rim protection because we allowed for them to hurt our guy. Or the refs did, that is. But whatever the case may be, it's just like, hopefully Anthony plays, but I'm not optimistic about that. I'm penciling him in as out. If for no other reason, then that's just the history. I mean, the guy's fragile. He has a head injury. They ain't going to let him play. That's just how we got to think. And so, we've already seen him forego opportunities to succeed in big situations. And this is yet another situation where they'll probably just say, well, we got game 7 to win. I'm pretty sure that's how they're going to think. We got the cushion of a game 6. Like, that's how they are. So I'm gonna tell y'all that's exactly what I expect. Because Golden State ain't gonna they ain't gonna see that prime rib out there and not bite. That those are animals. They see that. They smell blood. You know? So the Los Angeles Lakers have played with their food. When you have a 3-1 lead against a team like the Golden State Warriors, um, you have to put them away. You have to. And that we didn't. Most times against a team like that proves deadly for you. And so at this point, now we just got to watch the team try to overcome that. You know what I mean? That's it. They got to overcome that. And I don't think they were even looking at it that way, because if they were, they would have had more to see in Game 5. So my concern all year long with all the rants that I've had is that our bad tendencies and some of these weak ways that we have are going to hurt us in the worst moments. And the team has not yet done that. But I'm telling you, it's set up real nicely for that crap right here in this series. It's set up so nice for that. Especially with this AD situation. And Braun now having some type of tweak of his ankle, and Schroeder with his Achilles or whatever's going on there. So we're starting to pile up injuries to key players against a Golden State Warrior team that now officially is much more healthy than us, because they don't have those problems. And they're starting to figure us out. So this series is definitely shifted. The momentum is shifted. And it is what it is. We're just going to have to live with that. So hopefully our team can go out there hobbled and play a valiant game. Maybe we can have some basketball gods work in our favor. Maybe the referees can make up for that and give us some respect at home. But at this point, with AD being in this state, I just don't have a strong view outlook on this Game 6. I really don't, based on how the Lakers look at things as a cushion. I just at this point believe that they're going to have to look at Game 6 as a cushion. They're going to have to try to get as healthy as they need to finish the series out in Game 7. That's the reality of it. I think that's what we're actually going to face. And the Golden State Warriors are a team that you can't do that against. So, wow, Darvin, you're going to blow a 3-1 lead in your rookie season in the second round. I don't know how that looks, as far as we should be so happy that we got to the second round. But to blow the lead sucks, obviously. And then you look at the excuse of the injuries that could potentially be the reason. And you're like, okay, it's the Warriors. So you're like, okay. So I think it'll balance itself out if we actually do blow the 3-1 lead for most of our team, our franchise. But for Bron, nah. He'll take the worst of that. He'll be the one to take the worst of that, and AD as well. But at least if AD has the concussion, he'll have the excuse. But there were games we could have played better. You look at Game 2, it's like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. But either way, we're in this space right now. Hopefully everything works out with AD. I just like preparing people for the pessimistic things so they're not caught off guard. But I don't know. I don't know if I had that right. At the end of the day, hopefully, everything will work out and we'll be all right. But you got to try to strategize to your strengths either way, man. We got the players to help ourselves. Obviously, with Bamba being kind of hurt, that really makes it worse. But you got to consider Coach probably wouldn't have played him anyway, so it doesn't matter. But we got Wenyen Gabriel. We got Vanderbilt, of whom 11 minutes, probably not what we need. And that's another thing, balance. In the games that we won, was Lonnie Walker a part of any of those games? No. Was Vanderbilt a part of some of those games? All of them. All of them. Even if we had to reduce his minutes because he wasn't hitting threes, he was still coming up with key blocks, key steals, key rebounds. You can't remove Vanderbilt entirely from the series if you want to call yourself the best defensive team. And you can't not put him back on the floor when Anthony Davis goes down if you're trying to compete. Now, I don't know what we're trying to do in this situation for like 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, down by 14. You don't know what to do in this situation, but I just felt like when you look up and see if Vanderbilt only had 11 minutes, I just think that this is yet another situation where we've misused the player. He hasn't performed well when asked to do the crap we asked him to do, and then we remove him from the situation and then can't use any of the strengths that we need him for. You know what I mean? And it's like, and then when we do decide to put him back on the floor, he plays well, then we overuse him again, lose faith in him again. It's like, that's the Lonnie Walker thing there. So it's like, This type of stuff, it's like, yo, I'm so sick of it. I really am. With the brain that I have, it just irritates me so much. But at the same time, it's like, well, people are doing what they know how to do, man. So we just gotta watch it play itself out. Hopefully they'll be successful. But it looks more like they'll bump their head. You know, it looks more like that. And so with the timeline as it is, with Bron being in year 20, we can't afford to bump our head based on the urgency that we've been building this thing on the whole time. So I'm disappointed in the Lakers, not choosing to win Game 5 strategy wise, with our size and with our abilities to be stronger and taller than them, with high efficiency possibilities with certain players who played well versus others. I just felt like we did not do our best, and because of it, we're probably in a position to get overcome. And so it is what it is. Salute the Kobe minute. I just passed it, but it's not a rant. This is like, you know, as I've always said, you want to be intellectually competitive in our nature. That's what you want to be if you're a Laker fan. We want to always stay on the right side of the things that we can control. And last night, we didn't do that as a franchise. We did the let's have a Game 6 party in our house thing, and this is when you don't do that, Jeannie. This is when you don't do that, Bron. This is when you don't do that. Against Steph Curry, you don't do that. So here we are. Here we are. Now we're staring down the barrel of him. I was looking at his face in the fourth quarter yesterday. The look on his face, he had like a scowl on his face looking around at people. It's like, yeah. See, that's the babyface assassin right there. Draymond's the loud one. Klay Thompson is kind of all over the place, but he can light up at any moment. Jordan Poole's the guy who's always pressing the wrong button, even though he has the greatest mechanics. He's always pressing circle when he should be pressing square. All the type of stuff like that. But when you look at the babyface assassin, you understand. You understand that he's something entirely different. Like, they're all great in their own right, but then it's him. He is why you're in the situation you're in. He is the dude that's going to overcome you over the next 2 games. He is why they're going to win if they do. And that's the problem. That's the problem. When you're looking at all these different things, even Steve Kerr and the variable that he provides versus the rookie coach, at the end of the day, it's the babyface assassin that's really the scary one. And the problem is, we got some scary guys too, but they don't scare anybody. That's the problem. Nobody's afraid of Bron right now because he makes himself entirely too easy not to be afraid of, because he does stuff that doesn't help himself. When you combine missed 3-point shots and turnovers on a night-to-night basis, you're just not a scary guy, man. Even if you can get to the rim over and over again, I know that half the possessions you're going to give to me in transition off those threes. Half those things you're going to give to me off of turnovers. You know what I'm saying? And if it's a lucky night where you're not getting your call, oh, it's really double down time on positivity stuff for me, because you're going to shoot more threes. You're going to be more frustrated. You're not going to play as much D. Your coach is going to put you on the floor with small players. It's a lot of stuff that makes our guys not as scary. You may end up beat. And you may end up beat, but you ain't scared. You may be concerned about Anthony Davis's length. He may scare you. But Bron is like, nah. He gonna do a lot of stuff that helps us. He is. He gonna do a lot of stuff that hurts us. But at this stage in the game, he's a little slower now. He's gonna settle a lot. So we can just leave him back there. If he starts hitting threes, we'll take it seriously. But we gotta, we can rebound over him. Just put a real center down there. If he's in a small ball lineup, we'll be able to overcome his size in certain situations. He's not a real big. Like, those are the things. It's like, yo, we leave him open. Just like I say about protecting people from their weaknesses, we don't do that with Bron. We leave his weaknesses wide open on this team every damn game. Every game. Asking him to be a center, asking him to be a power forward with a bad foot and an old body. Not protecting our players in that way either, Darvin. This is what we were talking about. The reference that I made, I was trying to make, but botched on in regards to the coaches that were able to protect their players from their own weaknesses by keeping other players on the floor to protect them from those weaknesses. We do a bad job about that on this team from player to player. A real bad job with these little small ball lineups, 3-guard lineups, asking Austin to be a 3, asking D'Lo to be a 3. This is trash, brother. It's garbage. But we get away with it from time to time because Anthony Davis is so damn dominant. rebounding and blocking shots and deflections and stuff like that. But we need him to score so much. Why? Because this stuff doesn't work, bro. It doesn't work. When we score 127 points, it's usually because we block shots, got in transition, and got buckets. That way, the offense that he's running and the lineups that he runs to have offense is trash, and then it translates to bad defense. That doesn't work. And it's like, yo. And for the 90th time, what is it, 88th time? How many times? How many games are we into this? 90-something games? Here we are, talking about the same stuff. You just keep on running it out there. It keeps on giving us a deficit. We keep on losing, or we keep on having to fight our way back into these games. And it's like we're so AD-eccentric because this is how we use our roster every night. And I ran about it. You look on this channel, you're going to see this rant a million times. Because it's the same thing every day with this coach. And it's like, when we get away from it, when he's forced to get away from it, he puts the size on the floor, and then we start having success. Rebounding, easy buckets. Score goes up. Boom, 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 boom. But for whatever reason, this data doesn't matter to us. We get away from that. We go back to the crap, and it gives us nonsense. And we sit there like we're helpless. And it's just a sad song, a tired song that we sing every single game. And so for a game 5 to have looked that way, and we're this far into it, we just understand this is who this team is, it's who their DNA is, this is how they want to display their team. As we've said several times now, it gets to a point where in Rant 86, 85, you're like, all right, but you know what I'm saying? It's not, you got to cut it off at some point with your frustration. And that's where I'm at with it. It's like, I'll tell y'all what I'm seeing, but I'm not nearly as frustrated as I used to be. It's just now, it's just like, this is why I thought they were fooled, because they do this to themselves. Self-inflicted wounds with bad strategy and lackluster effort in moments where they can, I guess, identify a cushion. So that's really what it is, man. You fall back on that cushion and you can get smothered by that thing, because at the end of the day, other teams aren't doing that. The urgency is there. You look at what Jimmy Butler's urgency is to every possession. You look at what these teams are doing. I'm sorry, LA. Your effort is just, it's fine from player to player, but for the strategy effort, the desire to compete in every game, you don't bring it. You don't bring it. And then your competitors know it. Your peers, everybody, they're aware of it. And so the fans are aware of it too. And we're not happy, man. A lot of people are waking up this morning, and the first thing on their mind is Anthony Davis, and they're worried about his health, and they're concerned. And that concern is very, very real here as well. The approach I took was, I understand Anthony's hurt. But the reason why he was hurting is because we left him out there to be the only big. He was pushing up against Kevon Looney when he shouldn't have been. That should have been someone else. Should have been Wenyen Gabriel. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I look at. I look at, you wanted to go small, and this is what transpired because of that. So I don't give our team no passes. I know what leads to what, and that's what I'm telling all of you. So what's one of the folks' favorite things to say? What's one of the favorite American phrases? When you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And I'm telling you, we play real stupid game. So that's pretty much what I gotta say, man. I appreciate everybody for rocking with BDF 44. I'm out.